Welcome back, baby. Go Chiefs. This is your man Kyle here, giving you my third episode in our Week 7 reaction. Well, we did it. Another amazing road effort by this team. I believe that makes 12 wins in a row, and we are now officially 5-0 against Denver West, as I like to call it, with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch run franchise. Doesn't get better than that. Chiefs beat them up. Chiefs were the better team. We look like a team that can really put some wins together now as our schedule is going to soften up a little bit, I believe, down the road here. But congratulations to that offensive line. Kareem Hunt, again, doing his thing. 20-plus touches at least, a couple of catches, 2 touchdowns, almost had a third one. Picked this guy up off the couch. Just right when you need it, right when you have nobody else to be out there. Juju got hurt again today. We're able to find this guy, and he's just a workhorse for us. Patrick Mahomes, not great today again through the air. A lot of times just nobody was open. 2 picks, 123 yards, something like that, 140 yards. Nothing to shake a stick at, but just find a way to win. We're going to kind of break down the game. We're going to talk about who we think made the difference, and it's just going to come down to this defense. This defense, I got the DJ jersey on tonight to represent the defense that we have, obviously from the past, but what we have now. And Steve Spagnuolo and this defense are really coming along. All the questions about can their secondary do it? Can our secondary, recover from the L'Jarius Sneed departure? Definitely not something I'm worried about. Jalen Watson did get nicked up. That's something to watch as we move forward here. But the Chiefs, man, what can you say? 28 points on the road at Santa Clara. It's not something that you can take for granted. It was ugly. It was ball control. It was 4.5 yards of play, but it was efficient. And as Tom Brady continued to say on the broadcast, we just kept going forward. Very minimal laundry and flags for the Chiefs today. Jawan Taylor, I don't think they had a penalty on Jawan Taylor all game. And if he can not get penalties on him, he's going to be worth what we're paying him and his production. But let's start with the defense, because that's really what did it. 3 interceptions on Brock Purdy. The 49ers are getting a taste. They're going to get a taste here of what it's going to look like in the future when Debo and Christian McCaffrey are not there. Who knows what Christian McCaffrey will be when he comes back? Who knows if Debo will be here next year? They signed Ayuk, a.k.a. they're not going to sign both of them and Brock Purdy. Debo is probably going to get traded or just simply released to free agency at the end of this year. They're getting a future glimpse at what it's going to be like when they pay Brock Purdy $50 million a year. I've been telling people, and everybody that knows in my circle, obviously the channel's getting started here, but I've been telling everybody in my circle that Brock Purdy's not the guy. They got 5 or 6 weapons they're throwing the ball to, and once those 5 or 6 go down to 1 or 2, it's not going to be the same. Their defense is getting old. We scored 28 points. We're not that prolific. One of the most points we've scored in a while, 28. I think it's ties a season high with the Ravens game. I'm telling you, that's just what the 49ers are going to be. Brock Purdy's not the guy. 3 interceptions. He had a couple scrambles that were okay. The one drop by Ayuk was huge early, but he just didn't look like the guy that can put your team on the back. And we're going to talk about this new kind of way of life for the Chiefs here with Patrick Mahomes and why I think it's working. But Brock Purdy's not special enough to do it like Patrick is. So good luck with the 49ers. They have a brutal schedule coming up. I believe it's a couple of divisional games. They got the Cowboys. They got the Packers at 3-4 with all the injuries. Debo was sick, didn't play a snap except for like the first quarter or something like that. Just a big time, glimpse into the future for them. I don't foresee. I think their window is closed. Brock Purdy's going to want money. He's made $4 million at most since he's been in the league, and he's going to want a big contract, and deservedly so. Been to a Super Bowl, blah blah blah. But I'm telling you, their window was closed. Back on to the Chiefs. This defense is something to behold. We lose L'Jarius. no problem. Just move right along. We got these young guys in the secondary, and then of course McDuffie's taking on a bigger role as the number one corner, and Jalen Watson, the Wendy's guy, a couple years back. I think the year we won the Eagles Super Bowl. 2021, he was literally working at Wendy's, and he walked on to the Chiefs, and he had that big interception on Justin Herbert in week 2 at home. We were getting beat by the Chargers. They're about to punch it in and go up by like 10 or 8 or something like that, and they throw like 8 passes to Everett in a row, and they got it to what's his face, but Jaden Watson took the interception back to the house. So that was kind of his coming on the scene. And then we had the 2 corners, and we didn't need him. He was just kind of behind Legarius and McDuffie, and he's gotten his opportunities. He's been great. Now, he got hurt twice. He got something to watch as we move forward here. Jaden Watson had a cramp early, and then got stepped on pretty bad. And then I'll touch base on it here towards the end, but the 49ers took advantage of it, and we really need to get him back healthy. He's been wonderful. So Chiefs take it 28-18. Defense, special teams by Hardman. I'm going to touch on Hardman later in the show, and then we're going to talk about kind of what our offense was able to accomplish. So obviously the defense was the number one story here. 3 interceptions, held really to 12 meaningful points. They had a garbage touchdown to get them at 18. Once that 2-point conversion was stopped, it was all over. You take a look at our defensive line. Our defensive line, I mean, they look bigger than the offensive line, and usually that's how it is. Mike Dana, obviously Chris Jones, George Karlaftis was a big George Karlaftis game. Haven't really seen him or called his name a lot here recently, but he had I think at least 1 sack, a nice tackle on a scramble, and then he forced an interception with a hit. So he had a hell of a game, and our defensive line is just fabulous. Rush defense. Mason cut a couple of decent ones in the second half, but he had maybe 15 yards in the first half. I mean, it's something that I think is the best defensive line in football. Both combo rushing the passer and stopping the run. They might not be the best stopping the run. They're up there, but with the Lamar Jackson game, statistically, it might not show that. He went for like $120 against this week 1. And then combo that with the pass rush. I think it's the best overall line. There's probably units that do better at one or the other than us, but can both. Our defensive line is absolutely fantastic. Linebacking core, Tom Brady was pointing out Chenal all day. Bolton had his plays, and I saw Tranquil out there being disruptive. And then our secondary is the weaker spot. Let's talk about that now. Jaden Watson went out, and they put in number 13. Can't quite remember his name, but he looked like a bench guy. So we're going to really need to see if Watson can get back. They had a couple of explosive plays on his replacement, number 13, and that's something to monitor because our offense has ball control, but the last touchdown we scored was kind of garbage too. We missed the bomb to Worthy. Worthy was wide open. Just got to lay that out there, and wasn't able to do so. Sorry, I keep looking at monitoring the Jets Steelers game as we're recording here, but very exciting win. Chiefs continue to roll. That offensive line is playing fabulous. The middle 3 we have Tooney and Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. Those 3 guys are probably the best. It's not even a question. They're the best interior linemen in the National Football League. Showed it again today. Good defensive front for them in the Niners. That's their strength of their team, including their linebackers, and we ran the ball well. I think it was 4.7 a clip. The Mahomes run, which we'll talk about here in a minute, that was kind of puffed those stats up a little bit, but still really well running the ball. So let's talk about the Chiefs now. We're on 6-0, going to be looking at continuing it against the Raiders next week. We're at the Raiders. We'll be favored by a touchdown. Even with these wide receivers that we got going on, the Raiders lost to the Rams today. Multiple turnovers. Aiden O'Connell broke his thumb. I mean, they just traded Devontae Adams. They were doing the Kermit the Frog thing, right? To Mahomes at the beginning of the year. It gets handled when it gets handled. Well, it's about to get handled. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think the Chiefs cruise to 7-0 next week, and then we do have a tough little run of games, and then it really does soften up. So we'll talk about that. We'll wrap the show up here with the Chiefs schedule moving forward. So let's talk about the rest of the week. Sorry about missing the Thursday night games and the Saturday night game night. We're going to be doing that here moving forward. Going to be doing update videos and Chiefs reaction videos, Vice the play-by-play. We're going to do the play-by-play in the playoffs. Once the Chiefs get into the playoffs and the games are obviously, we're going to make our championship run, we're going to get live play-by-play. Until that time, it's just easier to take the notes and give you guys my take on it afterwards for a lot of variety of different reasons. And so look for that in the future, in the playoffs. But the Thursday night game was terrible. Really not worth talking about and getting on the air for. It was 30-3, I believe, Denver over the Saints, and the Saints are really beat up, so that wasn't much fun to watch, so we didn't miss much there. And so we'll look to do, I believe, some chess or some video games here in the next couple weeks. Black Ops is coming out, so stay tuned for a Saturday night here upcoming soon. So moving on here, it's really something that to see over the league because the Chiefs are now the only undefeated team left. The Vikings went down to the Lions today. The Lions, I think they got lucky. I was rooting for the Vikings for a variety of different reasons. Tired of people talking about the Lions. The Lions are a team that they're kind of a front runner this year. Obviously they're my pick out of the NFC. I talked about this throughout my channel, my episodes here, but the Lions are someone that scare me. Kind of like I said, I think there's two teams that can beat the Chiefs in a football game this year when it really matters, and that's going to be the Ravens and the Lions. And I'd hate to go AFC Championship against the Ravens and Super Bowl against the Lions. So I was kind of hoping that the Vikings would get it done. The Vikings, I've kind of rooted for them for a long time, and I'm very high on the Lions. I think they're great. Obviously, they won. I think they're my pick out of the NFC, of course, but the Vikings were a really feel-good story, and it would have been fun to keep that rolling, and maybe the Lions get a wild card spot, and down the road with the Vikings having a good good run and taking the division from them, might be hard for the Lions to get to the Super Bowl and beat us. They're fantastic. Montgomery got hurt, carried off the field, comes back a couple of plays later, and has a one-handed catch for 30 yards. They're fantastic. The Vikings do what the Chiefs did a lot of times, and they got conservative at the end of the game. They were up by a point, 2 points, whatever it was. They had two first downs, got them the dub, and they ran it, and it was 3rd and 6, and they hit an incomplete pass, and that's the last time they touched the ball without 15 seconds left. Chiefs do it all the time. You're just trying to run the clock and forcing the burn timeouts. You literally have 2 first downs to win it, and you have Justin Jefferson on your team. Throw it to Justin Jefferson all 3 times. I mean, I don't know why you get so conservative and put your entire game on one play, on 3rd and 6, second and 8, you should throw it to. I mean, it was silly. And so the Vikings paid the price for that. I'm not really surprised that it backfired on them. You can't be conservative like that. Go 3 and out, and then watch the Lions bleed the rest of the clock out. Defense is tired at the end of the game. Take your shots. If it's a couple incomplete passes, great. Let's say they get an interception, then they have less yardage to burn the clock down. I just think you got to be more aggressive there. Andy Reid does that all the time. We'll be up 4, 3 with 3.5 minutes left. We'll go run to 3rd and 7, and we'll have one play to try to win the game where you could be throwing it all 3 times, and you have 3 plays to win the game. So I've never understood that. Obviously, you're going to try to limit an interception, but, we have a great quarterback. The Vikings have a great receiving core. I'm not sure why they're doing it that way, but came to bite them in the butt. Lions go to 5-1. Vikings fall to 5-1. Leaving the Chiefs, the only undefeated team left in the NFL. So on paper, that looks good. But Bills smash the Titans. Titans are not a team that's legitimate. I told you I wanted to trade with them with Calvin Ridley for a long time. Calvin Ridley, his contract is huge. I don't think we're going to be able to do it. But that's a team you can start picking some pieces away from. Their running back, Spears is pretty good. You also have DeAndre Hopkins there. So be nice to take some pieces away from them. The Browns lost again. Deshaun, moving on, I guess. But Deshaun Watson, he tore his ACL. You don't want to see anybody get hurt. That's not what you want root for. But I think the Deshaun Watson era has officially ended. in the Cleveland. DTR, came in, did what he could, but it's just not something that we're gonna have to endure anymore. He will be replaced. It'll look better, and that's a tough injury to come back from. We'll see if he even attempts it. He's got a lot of stuff going on the field, and maybe he's got all this guaranteed money. I don't know what the clauses are in his contract when it comes to being hurt. My guess is he's still getting paid. So if I were him, I'd just rehab it and take your money and call it a career. So he's done. And the final kind of contender is the Houston Texans. They went down today in a really good game with the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love is that guy. He just is. Game-winning drive to seal it. 3 touchdown passes plus. Just coming through in the clutch when it needs to be. He's got an arm. He's smart. He's seeing the field. He's tall. He's a strong athlete. And it really helped the Chiefs. Obviously, we're racing Houston for that one spot. They were in second place going into this game. And I think they are still in them and the Bills, but they beat the Bills. So I believe they are still in second place. But that gives the Chiefs a two-game lead on the rest of the AFC. It took 7 weeks to get there. That's pretty good. 2-game lead on the entire conference, with Houston going down, and obviously the Bills are 5-2 as well. Let's talk about the Bills for a second. Definitely a paper tiger. They have beaten literally no one. You look at their schedule, they have beaten the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Tennessee Titans, they have beaten the New England Patriots, they have beaten the Miami Dolphins, and somebody else. I mean, these are the 4 or 5 worst teams in the league. I don't know if their schedule will ever soften up. I mean, they have a division leader's schedule. It'll be something to monitor, when they get into some games that, against some teams that are halfway decent. You saw what the Ravens did to them, actually a good team. They destroyed them. So Amari Cooper came in. He had 5 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown, something like that. Pretty good, kind of debut for him. But I still don't see their defense, I'm just kind of whatever on their defense. The Bills are beatable. They're only beating the tomato cans. That's it. Tomato cans are nothing. Something to keep an eye out for it. But point being is that the Bills are not somebody I'm really too worried about. Their schedule has been really easy. I think their numbers are inflated. So I believe the standings are going to be Chiefs, and then the Houston Texans, and then the Buffalo Bills, and then the 4 seed is probably the Baltimore Ravens, who are at the top of the AFC North. So that's kind of your top 4. Then there's a bunch of teams in the playoff hunt underneath them. But obviously we're only about a third the way through, maybe 2/5 the way through the season. But right now it's shaping up for that all-important bye week that we've been talking about here as the 1 seed. Fighting the odds, fighting our receiving core, fighting all the AFC, not trading with us potentially. We need that bye week. We have a 2-game lead as we look at week 8 coming up soon. It's going to continue to be fun to monitor these teams, especially with the divisional matchup against the Raiders next week. So let's talk about our gambling. We did 3 picks. We're 2 for 2. We're off to a hot start here. We had the Colts over the Miami Dolphins at home, -3.5. They tacked on a late field goal to cover the spread, winning by 6. Like I said, the Miami Dolphins they don't have a quarterback. This Huntley kid that's not what's going to get them to where they want to go. They're not going to be in contention that way. Achane came back. That worried me a little bit, but I think he just had about 60 yards or so. Nothing crazy. And I believe the Colts were down 10-3. Scored the last 13 points of the game at home against a bad team, and so they covered for us. Sometimes you don't bet for teams. You bet against certain teams, and I didn't know the Richardson hasn't been great, and Taylor's been out with the Colts, but they're at home. They're playing a quarterback that was on the practice squad for the Ravens 3 weeks ago. You got to get your money in right, and we were able to cover that one. And then the Bengals. Bengals got it done for us, winning by a touchdown on the road. We were giving up 6.5 points. I said, divisional game is going to be closer, but the better offense, the better team, more desperate team, more realistic team that's going to have their head in it, that has a realistic snowball's chance of making the playoffs this year. Or the Bengals, they opened the game with a kickoff touchdown. That definitely helps. Watson had a good couple quarters, but it was obviously had the injury, and then GTR came in, and it wasn't quite as efficient for them. Point being, though, is that we got our money in on the right side again. One of the best offenses in the NFL, and you're betting against a team that is just completely out of sorts. I believe they fall to 1-6, and so we are 2 for 2. Hopefully, you heard what I said and got your money in on those spots. But point being is that we have one more in the 3-bet week. And that's going to start with, or end with, I should say, the Buccaneers hosting the Ravens tomorrow night. So that's going to be a great game. Let's preview that game. I think it's probably going to be the third best game in the week. Chiefs, Niners, Ravens or Lions, Vikings, and then the next best game is this. The Ravens go to the Bucs. Mike Evans apparently was going to be a game time decision. People I know and the sources that I've heard on different sites or whatever say Mike Evans is going to play. That would have changed my bet. I probably would have taken that off as a push, maybe, or thrown that bet onto the Chargers playing the Cardinals or something. But I am going to stick with that if Mike Evans plays, even if he's a decoy. Just his presence out there is going to be great for them. They're at home. They're getting 3.5 points against a team you can throw the ball against. I really like my chances of going 3 for 3. Would be a great start to the channels and channels record and get us in the right column and make us a few bucks on the way. But yeah, we felt really confident about those lines. We're just betting against bad teams there, guys. I mean, it's not rocket science. The Colts in particular really jumped out at me. So there's that. And then moving forward, let's talk about shift gears back to the Chiefs. In the offense. So, yes, we scored 28 points today. It's a lot easier when you basically return our special teams were great. We get a return touchdown basically to the 25. That helps you. And our defense had 3 interceptions. I still think we need, after today and Juju getting hurt, we're going to need a receiver. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know what team's going to trade with us. It's going to have to be a desperate team. We might have to overpay, give a second round instead of a third round, something like that. I feel like somebody out there has got to punt hard enough on their season to trade with us. But what we saw today, you can't trot out an 35-year-old Travis Kelce, Justin Watson, Hardman, and Sky Moore. Sky Moore had 1 target, another drop. Hardman had, maybe he had a couple jet sweeps and he had a little out route early that was good. But Worthy only had about, maybe 2 or 3 catches and they missed the bomb. I mean, they just don't have a true possession receiver. They had it with Rashee Rice. He is now done. And we have to make a move. I mean, we're going to probably play the Bills and the Ravens, something weird like that, to get to the Super Bowl. I mean, these aren't going to be easy games. Obviously, they're going to hopefully be at home. But you can't, bank on your defense holding people to 12 points every single game. I mean, you're going to have to put up a 30-burger at some point to beat somebody. And maybe we don't, and our defense can continue shutting people down, but you just can't run that risk. You got a Cadillac back there, a Ferrari back there, and Patrick Mahomes. You need the engine. You need some wheels to throw to. I mean, it just can't be this 3rd and 6 having, falling down sideways, throwing it to Noah Gray. I mean, we just can't bank on that. I just feel like the Chiefs need more talent out there. Apparently, Juju had a non-contact, weird hamstring fall to the ground type of injury. He played 1 play. This is not a good sign for him. And, I'm going to talk about Hardman, for a second, but we have to have a bigger body. I mean, the New York Jets are getting literally everybody they want. I mean, Hassan Reddick just signed back. They get Devontae Adams. It's just, we have to do it. I mean, we're looking at this Jets game right now. They're in a decently close game with Pittsburgh. I mean, the Jets are probably the scariest team in the AFC right now, if you think about it. The Jets have unbelievable weapons on offense. Wilson and Adams and Hall, and that Braylon Allen kid's good, and Alan Lazard and Mike Williams, who they don't even use. I mean, they got players everywhere, and the Chiefs got Sky Moore and Justin Watson. I mean, the last thing you want is a hot Aaron Rodgers at 10-7 to come into Arrowhead for your divisional round with that defense, and that's not what you want. So you got to kind of hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and kind of expect that kind of offensive unit to come in, because them and the Ravens have the best offensive units in the NFL with Flowers and Henry and Jackson. And then you have, of course, Rodgers and those boys I just named. So gonna probably, could go Jets, Ravens, Jets, Bills to get to the Super Bowl. We got to be able to match up with those guys and score some points. 28's good today. We didn't look dynamic offensively. I mean, we were relatively efficient. Our run game was okay. Mahomes made a couple of razzle-dazzle plays to keep the chains moving. But it's not something I don't believe is sustainable. And the 49ers, I mean, they're just as hurt as we are, and they don't have a magic man at quarterback. So we're going to be playing much better offensive units than even what we played against so far. I mean, the Bengals were beat up. T. Higgins didn't play. The Ravens, it was their first game with Derrick Henry, so he's kind of getting distraction. I mean, we're going to play some good teams. Houston has a bunch of great players, Nico Collins and those guys. I don't know who it is. I don't know who would trade with us. I don't know what we have to give up to get them. But we need to add a piece, 100%. Then if you can get a piece, like let's say just D-Hop, and then Hollywood Brown comes back, then you have those two, and Worthy, and Kelsey, and Gray, and you got some boys. But yeah, we need to add a piece. So I'm not sure who that's going to be, but we really need to look into that. Well, let's talk about Mecole Hardman. We're about halfway through, 2/3 way through today's show. An update. Mecole Hardman, he is. The Jets can't get anything out of him, and the Chiefs are making him look really good. I mean, he's got a couple of jet sweeps. He was great on the punt return. That set up a touchdown, I believe. The Chiefs need him, especially right now. He looks healthy. He looks fast. Him and Worthy are providing the speed. We do have that element. We just don't have any really good route running. But Mecole Hardman has really filled a need and is going to maybe keep us above water. I believe he had the touchdown at the end with the reverse. Worthy had some reverses, so it gives us an element, and he looks healthy and he looks engaged. Just a really great player for us right now. I wouldn't say he's fantasy worthy or anything like that, but for what the Chiefs need, he has really been coming through in a pinch here, and no drops or anything like that. Touchdown, punt return, veteran presence. Really great that we picked him up. Him and Hunt are carrying the load right now offensively. Travis Kelce, kind of a ghost. He did have a really huge, critical 3rd and 8 conversion. I believe it's the 3rd and 4th quarter on a touchdown drive. Outside of that, he really didn't put emphasis on the game. Maybe it's the defense that did it to him, but he's not what he once was. Last year wasn't what he once was, and this year it's kind of been tailing off. So we do have some nice tight ends and some nice tight end packages. We have Fortson, we have Gray, and Travis is being sprinkled in. But I mean, maybe it's something similar that it was to last year, where he just kind of coasts in to the playoffs, and then we can fully unleash him and just kind of keep him fresh, make sure he doesn't get hurt, because we need him, but he really, there's no separation. Defenses are keying on him. There's really nothing down the field. There's one target down the field, and it was underthrown a little bit and broken up on a nice play. But it's something that is to be watched. This could be his last season. If I had to guess right now, if he goes under 600 yards or something like that, and 2 touchdowns the whole year, this could be his last year, especially if we win it. If we win it this year, what else does he have to prove? Three in a row, 4 Super Bowls. He's 36 years old. He's dating Taylor Swift. Do the John Elway and just retire on top. If we lose, maybe he comes back to try to get one more. come back and play with Rice and Hollywood and try to get the band back together. But if we were able to karate chop our way through and slug our way through like we did last year, this was basically what we did. We just won each game by a possession. But I feel like this could be the end of Travis Kelce. He doesn't have a 100-yard receiving all year. Can't remember his last touchdown. Veteran presence, had one big play. One big play. Counted on when he needed it. It was critical. Kept the drive going in the third quarter. But it's something that I just see the end of here in the near future. So yeah, that's pretty much what we got. We have one more thing I want to talk about, and that's whether or not the Chiefs can go undefeated. The Chiefs probably will not go undefeated. The Chargers and the Broncos in the division are capable of beating us any given Sunday. And then, of course, you have the Buccaneers that come into Arrowhead in a couple of weeks. I forgot about that game. They're a very good team, very explosive offensively. Our secondary our safeties are kind of our weakness of our team. Be interesting to see how we do there. Their defense is decent. That's a tough game. And then you have the Bills and Houston still on the schedule. So the Denver doesn't look like a total pushover, at least defensively. The Chargers are always scrappy. And then you have those three games, the Bucks, the Bills, and the Houston Texans. I don't think we can run the table. If we can get through the Bucks and the Bills in the next 4 weeks, then the conversation can start to happen. It's something that might not be important, but because one bad Sunday, it's all over. But if we were to go undefeated and we got the three-peat, that would be two things that Tom Brady never did, and it would just strengthen his argument against Tom Brady. He'd have 4 Super Bowls, undefeated season, 3 in a row, did it in 7 years. You could realistically say he's might be better even statistically in the short amount of time that he's been only playing about a third of the time that Brady has. So, Chiefs get it done. Only an undefeated team left in the league. We really need to focus on that trade, getting Jaden Watson healthy, and just somehow find a consistent receiver outside of Juju and outside of maybe Travis Kelce. Those two guys aren't going to get us to the Super Bowl. Travis Kelce is washed, in my opinion. We'll see, but it's just not what we're getting, what we want to get out of him. And also you have Juju going down. So we've really lost 5 or 6 receivers. I think this team needs to make a trade, keep everybody healthy, and then, post your 14-3 record. Get the bye week, but it's going to be a defensive deal, just like it was last year. It just is. I mean, that's just where this team is at. They're kind of taking the Patriots model that Tom Brady was talking about the whole dang game. Just moving forward, not making the big mistake, even though they had a couple picks. But we got to think about the big picture here. And Patrick Mahomes has 6 touchdown passes and 8 interceptions, and we're 6-0. And people are saying our offense isn't clicking, and we're still 6-0. We're probably top 15, top 14, top 10 in the league in points. I mean, we score a decent amount of points, and we move the ball. We get a lot of yardage. It's just that explosive play no longer is there. I will say we were much better in the red zone. Take a look at the red zone stuff today. I believe we were 3 for 4 scoring touchdowns today, maybe even 4 out of 5. I believe they were all red zone touchdowns. 80% scoring touchdowns is really good. I think we had a turnover or the missed kick or something like that. A turnover, in one of those possessions. But 4 out of 5 in the red zone is really good. Middle of 3 of that offensive line really did that. And you can't really stop saying it, but the Kareem Hunt stuff is wild. I mean, he's one of the better fantasy running backs, without practicing with the Chiefs for months, and then hasn't even been on the Chiefs' radar, and then all of a sudden he's getting 30 carries and doing his thing. So Chiefs, man, they're rolling on. Got the Raiders next week. Really looking forward to that game. Patrick Mahomes only has 6 touchdown passes. It's somebody he's going to want to get revenge against. Really a opportunity against a bad Oakland Raider defense, Las Vegas Raider defense, whatever you want to call them. And so I feel like we could maybe finally get some 3 or 4 touchdowns. Again, that's obviously the site of the Super Bowl last year. Good memories there. Patrick Mahomes is like 11 or 12-0 since. 11, 12 in domes, maybe like 11-1 in domes. He's an unbelievable dome quarterback. I mean, the Cardinals game, the game against the Eagles in the Cardinals Stadium, like the last 2 Super Bowls were in domes that we've won. Obviously, I think he's a better road quarterback than ever. So just look at the model the Chiefs are doing. They're playing great defense. They are controlling the ball. They're trying to turn the ball over a lot, but when your defense does the same, it kind of washes that out. So it's the same result basically as taking care of the ball, because we got the ball back a bunch of times, and just playing championship level defense. The rush defense, like I said, the defensive line is the greatest combination of pass and rush defense in the National Football League. It's really not even close. Those boys up front are doing a marvelous job. Wilson, Mason, their running back, he was leading the league in rushing yardage. Him and Derrick Henry are like 1-2. And, we just shut him down in his own house. So, Chiefs moving on, 6-0. Number 1 team in the National Football League. Should be number 1 in your power rankings. Chiefs, Lions, 1-2. You heard it here first. Chiefs, Lions, Super Bowl. I don't want to see the Lions because I'm very scared of them. Their offense is fabulous, but my pick still looks good. Recapping the show, Chiefs won a very close defensive game, 28-18. We were through there every step of the way, and we had some exciting games elsewhere. The Packers win over Houston was fabulous. That was good for the Chiefs, extending the Chiefs' lead over the AFC. And then it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight with the Jets and the Steelers. Definitely rooting for the Steelers here in the second half of this game. We want the Jets to lose. That'd be a scary wild card team to host in the divisional round. So that's what we want to try to avoid with the Jets falling to 2-5. And tomorrow night's game will be a good game. Going to affect the Chiefs a lot. And if the Ravens can get that 3rd loss with the tiebreaker, I don't foresee a way where they could overtake us in the standings, and they would have to go to Arrowhead regardless. So great day, Chiefs Kingdom. Love it, love it, love it. As my friends and I like to say, we love to see that. And we will see you guys Tuesday when we talk about Week 8. A lot of big matchups. We're going to talk about the World Series matchup and how it's going to be a big market affair again. And we're going to preview the NBA. NBA is getting close to starting. We'll preview the Bucks schedule. Obviously, that's our main NBA team on this channel, and so we don't need to get a jersey on the back or something. But like and subscribe. Obviously, that's super important. We'll get this video posted, and so we are going to be doing reaction videos for the Chiefs, vice the play-by-play until the playoffs. So from one Chiefs fan to another, thanks so much for stopping into the Fanatic, and we will see you on Tuesday for our Week 8 pregame show. Thanks so much, and have a great rest of your night. Bye-bye.